मैं रिकॉर्डिंग ऑन कर रहा हूँ। आपको होस्ट बना देता हूँ।
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in. My name is Ritesh Osta, and today I welcome you to our very special webinar called AI Cold Outreach Playbook for IT Service and Recruitment Companies. We have been working in this space for a very long time, and I have been creating content on this area for some time now. I think this is an in thing, and I sincerely feel that everything that is going on in the industry and with all the changes that is happening, we have decided to impart our knowledge on a regular basis, and this webinar is one such masterclass in those series. Okay, so all right, so we'll talk about AI cold outreach playbook. That means cold outreach with the use of advanced AI with GTM, with no code, and how IT service and recruitment companies can leverage this in this era of AI and automation. All right, let's move on. Challenges of the lead generation for IT service and staffing industry. Now, uh, I have been in this space, as I said, for last 15 years or so, altogether 18 years now. And this industry is a pretty old industry in a sense. This industry is there since the late 70s, 80s, 90s. And there were certain classical ways of working in this particular industry that has worked for decades. Uh, I'm talking about trade shows and people to people relationship, cold outreach, phone calls, cold calling, and whatnot. This has been part of the game for a very long time, but all of that is now being challenged in 2025. And with this new era of AI and with this new era of automation, if in this new age of AI agents and no code, uh, every single thing that we know is now being challenged every single day. Okay, so let me talk about the challenges that typically IT service and staffing companies is facing when it comes to lead generation. Okay, typically, and me being a sales guy and a growth marketer and product marketer for many of these companies in the past, I have tried all of this, and traditionally, and I'm pretty sure if you are in this industry, you will resonate in what I'm saying. Uh, Traditionally, we have been running paid ads, Google ads, Bing ads, LinkedIn ads, Facebook ads, Twitter ads, and whatnot. I mean, this in the social media era, Google ads has been around for more than 2 decades now, and traditionally it has worked very well. Um, of course, the other method of generating leads in this industry is lead gen agencies, cold list providers, companies who provides all the people who visited certain trade shows or conference in certain duration of time. So all this kind of stuff, okay, and all the decision maker, the list of decision makers, and like so on. And this kind of cold list was being sold, at a hefty cost for a long period of time. The next up is the listing sites, the G2, the Sourceforce, the Clutch, Agency Spotter. Again, these listing sites were basically putting you on the top. Many a times you have to pay money for to stay at the top, apart from reviews. And it's not easy to stay at the top. You have to pay the money, and also you have got to get good reviews and like so on. So the people who can throw in the most money and the most resources behind it typically over the time will go up, and they will get most of the leads, and that is the challenge with listing sites. Having said that, all these things work. And of course, the good old events, trade shows, partner events, and like so on. So this has been there for a very long time, and there's nothing wrong in it. If you're still doing it, please continue doing it. I sincerely feel that most of the traditional channels, which are there, especially trade shows and and paid ads, are going to be relevant for a very long time. Having said that, the challenges are that all of this is becoming harder and harder and more expensive with time. Google Ads, I used to run Google Ads almost 12 years back, and that time it was much simpler. The SEO was simpler. Getting ranked high on a certain keywords was simpler, easier, cheaper. But with time and with all the competition going up, it's like a real estate, right? It's like when there are more people willing to buy the same real estate and they're willing to put more money in, then the price of the real estate goes up. So that's the reason why the price of real estate in a city like New York is much more than some other small town in US, right? Because there are more people willing to pay more money for the same piece of real estate, and that is what happened with paid ads, across different channels: Google, Bing, LinkedIn, Facebook. All of them were much cheaper 10 years back, but now it's very expensive. The competition is high. The ad cost is high. Not everybody can afford it in today's day and age. Lead generation agencies, of course, they're still providing lists, but now, getting list is not that difficult. If you have a Zoom Info or an Apollo, pretty much you can, find whatever you want. So lead generation, although it has become easier, doing an outreach has become more and more challenging, right? So earlier there were less companies doing outreach, but it was expensive. So they were getting better success. Now there are more companies doing outreach. So it's easier to put the process and start the outreach, but it's harder to get that attention. And with respect to listing sites, Clutch, Agency Spotter, and others, it's over the time it has become more and more expensive. It's good for the large players, but if you are not one of those large players, it's actually kind of difficult to stay at the top or reach the top. Okay. Trade show partner events. I love it. I love the fact that, I get to meet people whenever I go there, but obviously it has its own challenges. You have to set up things, you have to, go travel. There are travel expenses. If you are going to set up a booth, that will have an added cost and, logistics and everything else. Not every company can afford it, at least not, all the time. So these are the challenges which are there traditionally in this particular industry. But there is a challenge which is bigger than all the challenges that I talked about. The challenge is that the demand is time bound. Let me explain what I mean by that. Demand in this industry itself is time bound. So if a data center company is looking for 20 network security engineers, they need those engineers next month, not next year. So when they put up a request, uh, typically, they put up an RFQ or they post a job, and this is where the staffing agencies or IT service companies will come into the picture. And the opportunity itself is time bound. That means, there is an opportunity which is there, and if it cannot be fulfilled within that specific time, then the opportunity is gone. And that's actually a very big challenge for this particular industry. So here, the more data you have real time, the more information you have real time, and the more action you can take real time, the better the chance for you to succeed in this industry. Traditionally, with all these methods, trade shows and paid ads and all, you have to basically wait, for the customer to come down to you, unless you are doing cold calling or something. You have to practically wait for the customer to come down to you. But we are living in an era now where there are all the signals out there, and for the first time, we have the technology in place by which we can even gauge the signals, to find out whether there is a need in the industry, and you can, grab those opportunity in real time. So we're going to talk more about that in some time. The next topic is, of course, relevance and personalization. When you do an outreach, what is more important, relevance or personalization? This is a debate which is going on. We have another webinar on this topic. Whether when we do an outreach, whether it should be more relevant or whether it should be more personalized. I sincerely feel it should be more relevant first and then the personalization. But we have another webinar on this topic, and we are going to conduct more webinars on this topic again. So keep subscribe to our channel, and more information is going to come down in the near future. More value packed value add we are going to add to our channel. Okay, all right. So hidden dark funnel. I was talking about it a couple of minutes back. There is a hidden dark funnel. That means, there are signals out there where companies are now putting up the signals out there. For example, they are posting it on social media that they have acquired a new company. That's a signal, right? Or they got a funding uh, by another major company, or merger and acquisition happened, or they hired a new CTO, or they are putting a lot of jobs in the market. That means they are on a hiring spree. So all of that is signal. Earlier, it was very hard to track those signal. Many companies, they used to put human beings to do ABM and track those companies as to what they are doing. But now we have the technology, especially the AI agents and automation based technology, that has made things very simple. And now we are able to do magic on this area as well. Okay. All right. So depersonalization, this is another question that comes to us very often. How to do depersonalization? That means, with all the signals that I just talked about, how we can use those signals to more and more personalize our outreach to those companies. And we're going to talk about that also in some time. Okay, now, before I talk about myself, let me just go ahead and give out the complete playbook that we follow. So we, in our company Inside Tap, we have been working with ABM and cold outreach and lead generation and performance marketing for a very long time, over 10 years now. And we have learned a lot. And in last couple of years, things have changed a lot. So this is an ever-evolving playbook for B2B sales. And this is changing every single day. Trust me, that is the reason we are planning to conduct more such webinars in the coming days. But this is the playbook that we typically follow, especially for this particular industry. Having said that, even if you're not from IT service or IT staffing industry, this is absolutely relevant. We have clients from other industries as well, and we practically use the same playbook with a little bit of customization for that. Okay. Now, there are three important steps in this particular playbook. One is, of course, the lead gen, how you're going to generate the lead. The second is how you're going to find the signals in the dark funnel. And the third is how you're going to, use this lead generation, all the leads coming up and all the signals, and, use this information to do more and more personalization when you're going to do an outreach, whether you're inbound leads or cold leads. Yeah. And that's the whole point. Now, this kind of technology is already being used heavily by e-commerce company. It's not something new, especially in e-commerce company. If you go to Amazon, you will understand what I'm trying to say here. But this technology is now coming down to B2B large enterprises as well. And we are at the forefront of this technology. In fact, our slogan is run your B2B enterprise like an e-commerce store. So, you get the point here. Okay. Now, here's the traditional lead gen mechanism that you can typically use. You can run social ads, LinkedIn ads, Twitter ads, Meta ads, Google ads. You can do 100 other things. I have listed all these things down because these are the most prominent channels that brings the most result when you are in this particular industry. Of course, somebody can come up and say, hey, why not core ads or Reddit thread? And of course, all of that works. I'm not against it. But if you have limited budget and resources, this is what we have found bring the most result, with the resources that that you have. Okay. So social ads, of course, LinkedIn ads, Twitter ads, Meta ads. I'm not, I will not suggest you to start with Meta ads if you are in IT service and staffing agency. Stay away from it for, unless you are just doing it for retargeting. Don't do that. PPC, run Google ads. It still works. Bing ads works very well. And also run Google business ads, and Google local ads, map ads, as they say. Do that, if you're serving local customers. Okay. You can also do job portal promotion like Indeed and other job portal sites. But I would not suggest you to do it immediately if you have limited resources. Don't do that. This also is one area that typically is overlooked by a lot of companies, which is display and video advertisement. YouTube works very well. It is pretty cheap as compared to the attention and the views that you can get. And do use GDN and Taboola for display network, display ads. Even though it does not bring leads directly to you, but it can certainly increase the chances of other channels performing better. Okay. Now, if you have a question, how, then that's another webinar altogether. All right. Next up is, of course, you can do cold emails. Nowadays, getting a follow or Zoom info or Cognizant. If you're in Europe, then Cognizant works pretty well, better than Zoom info and Apollo. It is fully GDPR compliant. If you're just looking for mobile numbers to call up, then you can use Lucia. Other good one is Lead IQ, among tens or hundreds of other data providers out there. These are the ones that we use, and we find it very good. If you have any other suggestion, please do give us the suggestion. We'll add that and we'll check that out. The next up is the technology lookup. A lot of our customers, they look for technology. For example, they say we want customers who are using Salesforce or SAP or Oracle or HubSpot. This is very important. Most of this tool that I'm talking about, they do give information about technology lookup as well. So I think this tool itself can handle most of the stuff. Okay. And of course, you can hire leads and agency, who can provide you curated list and event visitors, trade show visitors and all of that. If you're doing it, continue doing it. I'm not against it. If it is not that expensive, if it becomes too expensive, then there are other ways by which you can, get those data, from these tools. Okay, the other traditional way of getting inbound lead is, of course, partnership, trade shows, social media, niche communities, Slack communities and Reddit communities and LinkedIn communities and like so on. Okay, SourceForge, Clutch, Agency Spotter, they still bring good leads. I don't know how long that's going to be, but right now, as of now, if you're doing it, continue doing it. I think it's going to be around, quite some time, unless we see some major disruption in this. And of course, the outbound, if you're doing email outreach, LinkedIn outreach, cold calling, traditional way, do that. And this is what most of the companies has been doing it. And this is what the traditional landscape looked like. But now, there's a little magic that has started happening, and that magic is what we call as the dark funnels or the intent signals. Now we have the technology in place to find out the intent and the signals. Okay. So what do you mean by intent and signals? For example, if somebody comes down to your website and they visit your website, but they do not fill up the form, which is like 98% of the people who will come down to your website will not fill up the form. They will just leave. Now we have a technology called reverse IP tracking. All these companies they provide, and then there are more, by which we can, almost 50 to 60 times figure out, who those people are. If not, at least which company they work for, if they're coming from company domain. So at least half of the time you'll be able to figure out, at least the company that they're coming from. Pretty good, right? So at least you can, fill up your pipeline with more such accounts that you can target, right? I'm going to come down to that on how you can target. The second is now with more and more tools available in the market, you can easily in real time find out who are posting what kind of jobs. There are tools out there in the market, but in our case, in Insight Tab, we have built our own proprietary tool, which is, I believe, better than most of the tools out there. But even if you're using other tools, that's fine. There are tools out there which can immediately find all the job being posted in real time in any location, which means it's a good news, right? For example, if you're sourcing IT service engineer, or IT security network engineers, and you want to know in real time in your city which are the companies who are posting that kind of job. That means they are your potential customer, even though they may not buy from you, take your service right away, but they are your potential customer. So they can be added into your sales pipeline as an account to be further, prospected and outreached from the account-based marketing perspective. So that's another very important signal. And then there are other signals, for example, fundraising. If a company has raised a lot of funds, mentions an alert. Now we have technology like social listening, by which if certain companies mention something on social media, we'll be able to figure that out as well. If they mention your competitor name, that means, they are dealing with your services, or maybe they are interested in your service. So we can basically, listen to those signals as well. And of course, we have search competitors. If there are, we can certainly run ads on people who are searching for your competitors. That is good old technique, but it's a very important intent. New product launches, if some companies are launching new products, it's a very important signal. Industry reports, company annual reports, very good source of information that most of the companies they overlook in terms of what the account is looking for and what their future plans are going to be. Tech adoption, for example, some company they have moved from HubSpot to Salesforce or Salesforce to HubSpot. That might bring new opportunities for you as a staffing company or a service-based company. Your G2 profile visit, if somebody is visiting your G2 profile, of course, G2 has now got those intent signals that can be pushed back into HubSpot or Salesforce. If integrated well, you can get that information. And then, we have other signals, like, for example, somebody coming up and engaging with your chat or clicking on your outreach email, clicking on your ads, engaging with your LinkedIn, and like so. So all these signals can be fed, right? And with all this signal in, you can then go ahead and create a personalized outreach. So let me talk about how the signals can be fed and how it can be used for personalized outreach. Okay. For example, the signal is coming that there are, 50 companies who visited your website, but they did not fill up the form. So they go into your CRM, HubSpot or Salesforce, right, as an account. Then also another signal came that they have posted certain type of job. Okay, all right, that's another signal. Okay, and maybe they are mentioning, your competitor name on their social media. That's another signal. So 3 signals. I mean, one signal is enough for most of our customers. I'm just giving you examples with 3 signals. That can be fed back into CRM or a CDP, and that data can be processed in real time using AI and automation. Okay, and then go ahead and do a personalized outreach. Okay, how it can be done is another question, and that is where this mind map comes into the picture. But the idea is that we take all the signals and then we process the data, and then we do an outreach, with more information in our kitty when we do the outreach. It's not just hi, first name, we are providing this service. If you're interested, book a 15 minutes meeting. That is what typically cold outreach looks like still for most of the companies right now. What I'm saying is, hi, I mean, you should not say, hey, just because you visited our website, we are reaching out to you. That's not the point. The point is, hey, hi, I know that you are interested in this sort of a service. I can see in a company profile, you're posting this kind of a job. All right. You have this kind of tools that you're using, or maybe you have this sort of a product. We are in a very good position to provide you this so and so service. Please let us know if we can have a quick chat on that. Now, this is more personalized. It's not just about, high first name and, putting company name and industry filters. No, it's more personalized based on the data. The relevance is more personalized. It's not just the filling of the filters and fillers. It's the relevance is what matters more. So when you reach out, you are more relevant because they are posting a job or they visit your site or they got a fundraising. And when you are reaching out with that particular message, it becomes more relevant for them to show more interest, right? So how we can do that? There are technologies that are available. In terms of web visitor, the technology that we typically use are Leadfeeder or Clearbit or 6sense, and then there are others as well. If you can put up a tracking code on your website, typically you will be able to, track the website visitor. Now we have companies like RB2B and Instantly and others, which claims to have person level tracking as well, which is also true, but they roughly the hit ratio is around 40 to 50%. That means for every 100 people coming up, they'll be able to figure out 30 to 40% of the people with their identification, and that too only in US, not outside of US. Okay, so I think the company level identification is much more powerful in a way that it can build a pipeline for you. But if you want to add person level identification, you can add another RB2B and I think you'll be good. Okay, how to enrich the data? For example, all these signals, how to enrich those data back into HubSpot. So for that, we have tools, right? For example, Clay, we can use Clay to enrich the data from different places. If you're not using Clay, you can use Apollo, Clearbit. There are so many data providers. If you're going to not use Clay and use Apollo or Clearbit or Sixpence, then possibly you will need something like a Make.com or N8N as an automation tool to basically create those entire automation, fetch the data, and then push it back to your CRM. Clay makes things a little bit easier, but it has its own price as well. Having said that, there are a lot of Clay fans out there. I have worked with Clay. It's a fancy tool. It's an incredible tool. So feel free to explore any of it. And if you want, you can build your own automation using Wix.com or N8N and pull the data from say lead feeder and then Apollo and Clearbit and other segments, right? And then push it back to your CDP or CRM. Okay, so this is how you can do the enrichment. Then you can do a process automation. For example, you can automate the process. As I said, Clay, Make.com, Bardeen, N8N. These are the tools that we typically use. Let me know if you have other tool in mind which you feel is good enough. These all four of them are pretty good. We have used all four of them in different scenarios. They all work very good in terms of process automation. When I use the term process automation, I mean taking this data, processing it, adding it, enriching it, then sending it to cold outreach system, and then sending an email. So that's a process that needs to be automated. If you're not going to do process automation, then you have to do it manually, and that is where the human agent comes to the picture. And the reason why it is called AI agent is because it basically does the job what a human agent does it, right? Like a VA, right? If you hire a VA, that human being can sit and do a bunch of stuff one after another. Instead, you can design a AI agent, and that AI agent will work like a human agent and do that as a machine. Okay, all right. I mean, this webinar, we are not going to talk much about the AI agent as a whole. Possibly we'll have another upcoming session and master classes on that. But once you do the process automation with all the data fetched back into the CRM, you can then do an outreach. You can run very personalized targeted email campaign. You can run targeted LinkedIn outreach. You can even do a cold calling and AI calling. You can do cold calling using human beings with more data, more relevant information, or you can even nowadays, there are fancy, beautiful AI calling tools available that can do the job to a certain extent, right? And it does not stop at that. You can also go ahead and run a hyper personalized retargeting. Let me explain what I mean by that. For example, a bunch of company came down to your website, but they never filled up the form. Okay, and then they left, right? So you can create a pipeline. You can create a segment in lead field and push that segment to HubSpot. Okay, and in the HubSpot can be integrated to Clay or Make.com, and more information about the company and people working for that company can be pushed to HubSpot or say Smart Lead or Instantly, whichever either you're using CRM or outreach tool. That's up to you. So you gather the information, you enrich that data, okay, more and more data. Then you take the data and push it, say through HubSpot ads, back into say LinkedIn ads using customer match ad or Google ads, okay. And then you run a very, very hyper targeted personalized ad to those companies, okay, which is more relevant. So you can show an ad saying that, hey, you know what? Have you been looking for this kind of services lately? Okay, check out our service. So in that case, you're not doing spray and pray. That means you're not running ads left, right, center, and just hoping that some of the right people at the right time will see the ad and come to you. Instead, you already have those signals, you already have the information, you already have those intent. And then based on that, you are creating your segment, your targeted audience, and then running very, very hyper personalized ads on top of the email campaign and LinkedIn outreach, or maybe even cold calling, right? That is the playbook of 2025, what we call as the GTM playbook of 2025. So it's a very changing and dynamic space right now when it comes to this. I mean, every single day we have new tools and new features and new updates coming up in this particular tool. It's a very interesting area, and I sincerely feel now more and more enterprise companies will be interested in this kind of technology going forward. Okay, so in the upcoming webinars, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about each and every topic in detail, and we will also talk about how you can implement, right? So just stay tuned in our channel, just keep just subscribe to our channel and follow us on our social media pages, and we'll talk about this, and we'll also show the use case and the case studies of what we are doing with our customers. And I'm pretty sure that is going to help you craft your own GTM strategies for your own B2B company as well. Okay. All right. So with that, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. If you don't know me, who I am, then my name is Ritesh Osta. I'm a Fiverr Pro. I'm a top seller, Fiverr Pro. I have been doing freelancing for more than 8 years now in my 18 years of career in IT. And now I have a company called Inside Tap, and I have a team of very skilled performance marketers and cold outreach people, and automation and AI agent builders working with me, and we have been helping and serving a bunch of customers. We have been very, very lucky, and to have the kind of clients that we get. So you can check out my Fiverr Pro profile, or you can even check out my LinkedIn profile. Pretty much, this is what you're going to see if you go to my LinkedIn profile. I'm into ABM, demand generation, B2B marketing, and I've been doing it for more than a decade now, almost 15 years now. Okay, this is our company called Inside Tap. Our slogan is run your B2B enterprise like an e-commerce store. We actually, with all the experience with e-commerce that we have worked in the past, we are using this technology, and we are putting those technology in place along with these new technologies that we talked about to help you scale your enterprise sales, automate it, scale it, with and we have got over a decade of experience in helping enterprise and IT companies with growth marketing and ABM. All right. So that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for joining in, and keep a close eye in our space. We are going to have this webinar every Thursday, 9 p.m. India time, and we'll come up with some value packed webinar in the next time. Thank you so much.